Welcome to Films in a Nutshell. Today, I will summarize the plot of the 2019 Russian war movie titled Soldier Boy. Spoiler alert over here. Hope you enjoy the recap. The movie opens up with Sergei, who was sitting on the tree playing his game. As he stayed there, a German fighter jet approaches them. But Sergei wasn't afraid and uses his slingshot to destroy the aircraft. However, when he looks around, his family disappeared. It turns out to be just a dream, and Sergei wakes up from knock on the door. He assumed it was his mother, so in a hurry, he went to open the door. He met his aunt. She told him to pick up his stuff and move in with her, but Sergei refused. He said he was waiting for his mother, and he would take care of his mother's livestock until she comes back. His aunt broke the bad news and told him his mother and brother had been killed, and if they found him there, he would be killed too. She tried to pick up some of his clothes, but the enemy soldiers arrived. She pushed him out the window and told him to run while she was shot immediately. While he kept screaming, Mom he ran from home and watched his home from afar. They were burning their neighborhood. The following day, Sergei goes by river to hydrate. As he was about to leave, he saw some soldiers coming. He hid in the woods from the soldiers and remained there while the soldiers set fire by the river to cook some food. Meanwhile, Sergei gets startled when he sees a snake above his head, but manages to stay quiet until the Nazis leave. He goes over the river to take the leftover cans. A few days have passed, and the boy is so weak that he can barely walk. He finds some small fruits on the way, but soon the place gets bombed, and Sergei has to flee. A while later, it starts to rain, however the boy is exhausted and without strength. He limps forward but falls unconscious after a while. A few hours later he is found by two Russian soldiers who take him to the camp. In there, Sergei is greeted by Kuznetsov, the commander. He immediately requests the help of his men to feed and care for the boy. Without much time, word spread around the camp about the little boy. The chef brought him food to eat, and another soldier wrote a letter to get him some clothes from the national body. Sergei was taken to the medics, where nurse Katya treated him. He had an emotional conversation with Katya while getting his treatment, and Katya promised to draw him a tank. He asked Katya about Kuznetsov and asked if Kuznetsov was in the war. Katya responded affirmatively and also told him Kuznetsov had been rewarded with an order and pistol for his valor. Emergency patients from the battlefield were brought to the clinic, so Katya left him to treat her patients. Later that day, Kuznetsov came to visit him. He told him about his day, and Sergei said he also wanted to be a commander. He complained that the injection was painful, but he didn't cry because men don't cry. He then asked Kuznetsov if he got an order as a reward. He showed him his order and also showed him his pistol. In return, Sergei showed him the tank Katya drew for him and also drew a plane in his hand. When the commander leaves the tent, Katya works up the courage to go talk to him about the boy. Katya asks him to let the boy stay with them, but Kuznetsov immediately denies the request. He claims that a child does not belong there and says he will take him to an orphanage. Some of the soldiers visit Sergei in the makeshift hospital from time to time. On one occasion, they even brought him a binocular and some apples as presents. At night, Katya was still thinking about Sergei. She spoke to her colleague about Sergei and said ever since he got to their camp, she had found it difficult to sleep. She felt that if he were taken to the orphanage, she wouldn't be able to see him again. But she was not alone. Another soldier went to Kuznetsov to persuade him to let Sergei remain at the camp. Kuznetsov insisted that the issue had already come to rest, as his paperwork had been sent to the national body, and a car was coming to pick him up. The next day, the Germans invade their camp, but the Russians manage to hold them off. After they return, a soldier awaits to escort Sergei to the orphanage. Kuznetsov takes a seat and has a hard time breaking the news. Sergei realizes what's up and starts tearing up. The commander then hands the child a wooden pistol, and in gratitude, Sergei hugs him tightly. The commander couldn't bear to let go of the child and changed his mind. He then asks Sergei if he wants to be his son. And of course, the child answered yes. At night, all the soldiers worked with Jacob, the tailor, to create a little soldier cloth and boot for Sergei. Kuznetsov challenged him to wear the fabric with one lit matchstick, but over 20 matchsticks were lit before he was eventually about to wear the cloth. He came out excited in his soldier boy cloth. As he walked around the camp excitedly, the Germans attacked their base with airstrikes. Kuznetsov quickly takes Sergei to safety. After the bombing stopped, Sergei went around the base looking for Kuznetsov and Katya, wondering if they hadn't been killed. Amidst the chaos, Sergei goes to the infirmary to help injured soldiers and offers them some water. One of the men who had his eyes bandaged asks Sergei to read him the letters sent by his family. However, the boy didn't know how to read, so he started making up the things written on it to make the injured soldier feel good. What a creative and wise child. Eventually, other injured soldiers laughed it off and let the young child read their letters as well. He also sings a song for the soldiers to calm their nerves. He finally found Katya, and she made him lay on her lap until Kuznetsov got back from the battle. She told Kuznetsov that she had persuaded him to go to the commander's tent, but he refused and said he wouldn't go until Kuznetsov was back. Kuznetsov told Katya he had something to say to her. He was not prepared to talk, but as he tried to speak, Sergei woke up. He hugged him, and Kuznetsov could no longer talk, so he told Katya he wanted to ask her to build another tent. Sergei and Kuznetsov went to their tent. On their way, Sergei told Kuznetsov that he helped the injured one's battle, and he encouraged Kuznetsov that he would support him during the war. He started his soldier's duty as the commander's orderly. The commander ordered him to deliver mail, and he delivered them successfully to all the soldiers. One day while he was walking around the haystack with his binocular, he saw a leg moving in the haystack. He ran to Andrei to inform him. Andrei was skeptical at first, but followed him to the haystack with two other soldiers anyway. It turns out he was right, there were two crowds hiding by the hay. The Germans try to fight back, but the Russian overpowers them. The spies are arrested, and the kid is praised for his intelligence. He returned to the commander's tent, and Kuznetsov told him he had gotten the official letter to adopt him. He hurriedly said they should show the letter to Katya and told Kuznetsov that Katya had feelings for him, as he had once seen her crying because Kuznetsov was injured. As they got to the waterside to meet Katya, she was seen talking to a different man, and Kuznetsov assumes she is interested in someone else. During a battle, Sergei wanted to help the soldiers, and he also took ammo to them. He returned to the commander's tent, and he heard the commander talking about the broken communication cable. A soldier is sent to fix the broken wires. Sergei follows the soldier and sees he has been fatally wounded. He asks the dying soldier to direct him on how to fix the cable, and does it himself. The connection comes back and more troops are called. The following day, he ran to Katya to tell her that Kuznetsov was fatally wounded in the battle. She ran back with him to treat Kuznetsov, but she figured he was fine. She ran away, and Kuznetsov followed her. He caught up with her and confessed his love for her and asked her to be Sergei's mother. Before she can say anything, a soldier approaches them and gives the commander a letter saying they have been dispatched from the base. The next morning all the soldiers leave for their new base along with Sergei. Soon they reached a village, and the soldiers were invited for a meal inside a house. Sergei notices a peculiar frame on the floor. It turns out to be the bomb that didn't explode. The officers hear this and order everyone to evacuate the house. The soldiers manage to get the bomb out of the house, continuing to march toward their destination. On their way, a bomb was detonated in their trucks. They waited and treated their injured soldiers before continuing on their journey. They met the platoon beat Rup and the general of the army. Kuznetsov told the general about the soldiers' worn-out outfits, but the general refused to order new wear. Sergei interfered in the conversation, so Kuznetsov asked him to get the names of the soldiers on worn-out clothes and boots. He got the names as soon as possible, and the general was amazed by his steadfastness, so he said he would order new clothes. All the soldiers in the regiment were awarded the Guard Award, and Sergei got his award too. At night, he went on a walk with his father, and the Germans attacked them. Kuznetsov's dug pit was ruined, so Sergei ran to call for help. Kuznetsov was saved and taken to the medics. The next day, Sergei went to visit Kuznetsov crying, but Kuznetsov told him to wipe his tears as men don't cry. The movie ends with a narration. On 27 April 1943, Sergei was awarded the Medal of Battle Valor, and he also took part in the Stalingrad battle, together with his regiment in Poland. The commander's family became his family, and he eventually graduated from Suvorov Cadet School in Tula. Thank you for watching the recap. Kindly subscribe to our channel, Films in a Nutshell, to get notified when we post the next recap. See you next time.